Contract to close. From the day you go under contract to the day you close, there are lots of steps involved in getting successfully all the way to the end. Today, we are going to talk specifically about Roanoke, Virginia's contract process as of August 2026. Laws are always changing, processes are always improving, theoretically, and for now, this is how it works in Roanoke, Virginia. It will have some parallels to other places, I'm sure, and it's going to be specific. So, there's your timeline from the day you go under contract to the day you close. In Roanoke, Virginia, we have what's called an inspection contingency, typically negotiated into our contract. It mirrors North Carolina's process. I'm also licensed in North Carolina, started there. It mirrors the due diligence process in the fact that you have the right to do any and every inspection, but it does not have a fee associated with it, unlike North Carolina. So in Virginia, you go under contract, you have one fee, aka deposit, your earnest money deposit. That actually gets delivered within the first 5 business days of the contract. So you go under contract, that needs to be in the hands of whoever's holding those funds, usually the title company, for contract compliance. You also, within the first 5 days, depending on how you negotiate it, need to get your loan application submitted if you're getting a loan. So if you're going to loan shop, that is your window of time to finalize which lender you're going to be using and hire them to start the underwriting process, get the appraisal going, and all of those other key timeline details. In your inspection contingency, like I said, you have the right to do any and every inspection you want to pay for. So if you're going to hire a third-party professional who's licensed in that field to come out and inspect something about the house, you can, within whatever time frame you've negotiated. That will be shorter or longer depending on the market and the leverage you have. Currently, 15 business days is not crazy. So right now, buyers have a little bit more leverage, just a little bit more inventory, so you can negotiate a little bit longer to do anything and everything you want to inspection-wise. And of course, there's a lot of options here. This video isn't necessarily about inspections, but doing a home inspection, an HVAC inspection, a radon test. I don't know why I keep spelling weird, but there's a lot more. Mold test, septic inspection if there's a septic, sewer line scope if it's an older pipe, definitely do that. Lots of different things. If you want to find an inspection for, it likely exists. Mold test, air quality, all sorts. And in this 15 days, depending on what you negotiated, business days, you have the right to give these reports to the seller. So basically, if you find a defect, something that is not working, something that is broken, not operating as intended, those are the things that you can negotiate the seller to fix. In Roanoke's contract, we are not doing code inspections. We're actually doing just a general home inspection. A lot of older homes in Roanoke. And as a buyer, you should be aware that you cannot ask for cosmetic things in our contract, or you cannot ask for things that are grandfathered in. So systems that are old, would never be installed today, but are currently working today, if they are functioning as intended, they are not something you can ask the seller to replace. So if it's working, can't ask for them to do anything about it contractually. Of course, there's loopholes where if you want to take something like, here's a bunch of things that I could ask for, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, but I won't if you'll give me this thing that I technically can't ask for, kind of thing. Regardless, once you have your reports and a consolidated list of contractually acceptable things to request, you present those to the seller, and then you have what's called the negotiation period of our inspection contingency. That also is business days. It is usually 5 business days. This is not working. Biz days. And in those 5 business days, you can go back and forth as many times as you want. Ideally, just the once, and they say yes, and then everyone moves along. But in a worst case scenario where you're asking for something that you contractually can, and the seller is being, for whatever reason, non-agreeable, not agreeable, incompliant, uncompliant, regardless, you can back out. But there's a little timeline structure to it. So if you cannot come to agreement based on reports that you have procured that are licensed professionals, that are contractually allowable for you to request, and the seller says no, then you can back out, get your earnest money back if all these days have passed. Once, oh, caveat for you. This 15 days ends and the negotiation period begins whenever you submit requests. So if you've done all your inspections in the first 5 days and day 6, you submit the request, you had a 6-day inspection contingency that's now entered the negotiation phase. Caveat. Just fun. Regardless, after the business days of negotiation end, you have another 2 days where, let's say you've gone through the 5 days, you did not come to agreement. The seller said no. You now, as the buyer, the contract is not dead. You can still buy the house if you choose to move forward despite the seller saying no to your request. You can do that. You have 2 days to decide whether or not you're going to. So in those 2 days, if you don't want to, you notify that you're going to terminate the contract, back out of the transaction. Your home inspection fees would be a sunk cost at that point, but you would get your earnest money back. Now, those are worst case scenarios, assuming you had a nice home inspection report, nothing big or crazy was found, and you made a fair request, and the seller was reasonable, and they said yes, you're moving right along. And so more steps are involved, of course. There's the appraisal going on. I personally prefer the appraisal to come back before we submit requests in case there's a variance in the purchase price from the appraisal value. We're not seeing a lot of that right now, but it's just my natural tendency from North Carolina days where that was best practice. Getting the appraisal back, and then also in this time frame, now that you're done with inspections, you're going to focus more on getting your insurance lined up. Insurance. Also going on over here, you got the title company doing their job in the title work. In Virginia, it's a title state. North Carolina is an attorney state. Generally, they're doing the same thing. It's just how the state is really transferring title and who's doing the work for you, the buyer. And also going on is a bunch of lender stuff, if there's a lender involved, to originate a loan. So making sure you're compliant with that and everything that that involves. Finally, once you get closer to the close, you're going to want to do a final walkthrough. So let's say you did request some repairs to be done. The seller's, of course, obligated to provide you with invoices that confirm the work was done. And then you at the walkthrough, or depending on what was done, maybe you went earlier to verify the work and saw that it was done. I always like to do a walkthrough right before closing as well. So even if we verify inspections before, it's just best practice to go right before closing. Maybe there was a storm that night and a tree fell over and now the tree's on the house. Who knows? But if you don't go lay eyes on it that one last time, just walk through it for 5 minutes and then go to the closing table, it could be something that you miss, and now you've purchased it, closed on it. It's your house, your problem. So just a worst case scenario hedge. Walk through right before closing. And of course, go to closing. And that's signing documents, giving the funds, verifying your identity, having the notary do all the notarized documents to give to the lender to send the money so that you now own the home. Except, technically, there's a little bit of space in between when you close on the house and when you own the house, where everything is signed and the closing attorney or the title agent, they're going to send the documents to the county for the records to be uploaded. And it's once the record is uploaded, the new deed is sitting in the searchable records with your name on it. That is actually the moment that ownership has truly transferred, and it is your house. So don't knock down walls until you own the home. Usually, this happens within a few hours. But if you close late in the day, like at 4 o'clock, you go and sign documents, you're actually not going to own the home until the next day. And some sellers get really persnickety about when they're going to give you access to the house. So, fun fact on just ownership and this process from contract to close to own. If you have any questions, that's what I'm here for. My brain is yours to pick. Have a great day.